So this is my Craftsman 50, 25 horse Kohler V-twin. This thing is a beast. It's got about what, 1,000 hours on it now. Many of those I've put on it, just ferrying kids around this town. So this is the pretty end. This is the not so pretty end. 3 or 4 seasons ago, I was mowing grass in my backyard and it just quit on me. No movement. Engine runs just fine. The deck turns just fine. No movement forward or reverse. So after 3 or 4 seasons of putting it off, I finally got ambitious and broke it down to find out what was going on with it. And from everything I've read up, I was speculating, fairly confident, that the brake shaft, which is actually a drive shaft in it, that the splines had actually stripped, and that's why it wouldn't move forward or backward. So finally, took it a notion to break it down, pull it out. Wasn't quite as bad of a job that I thought it was going to be. And when I got it broken down on the bench over here, I found out that indeed that brake shaft, the splines were stripped. This is actually the coupling that connects the hydraulic motor assembly to the rear gear case, to the gear case. And believe it or not, this is the shaft that drives the whole thing. So this coupler comes in from the other side on the bottom of this brake shaft. Now, normally that's supposed to be a press fit, but not only is mine not a press fit anymore, it's a you want me to what? It's a no fit. So hard to imagine that this little spline coupler drives this entire gear case. So all the torque you put on the back end of this huge 50-inch tractor is applied through this tiny spline shaft. So the armchair quarterback in me says it's a pretty crappy design to put that much torque on that small of a drive link, but it is what it is. So mine needs a new parking shaft. And of course, in the process of breaking it all down, it all needs cleaned up. All the gasket material have to be cleaned off. And I should change out the seals on the parking shaft. The seals on the I forget what they call these, some kind of horn assemblies, the left and right, actually the mounting assemblies. There's a seal on either end of those, but I'm having trouble actually identifying which seals they are. Every parts reference I've seen, these are only listed as assemblies. I'm not finding the seals individually. So I fear that if in fact I end up using all kinds of crap in there, if I end up using this transaxle again, I'm going to be reusing those seals, which I'm not crazy about. But and I know I'm risking, especially since I'm putting fresh fluid in this. The recommendation is either a 10W40 multi-viscosity oil, or I forget what the other, maybe 15W50. I forget what the other recommendation was, but I bought 10W40 to put in it in case I decide to go ahead with it. So anyhow, the gear case looks pretty beefy. I mean, these are nice heavy gears. The diff is plenty heavy. The splines on the individual shafts look fine, and the splines in the diff look fine. But that little tiny, stupid brake shaft, the connection between the hydraulic motor and the gear case, is shot. So this shaft is readily available in a number of different places. And when I say available, when I say this shaft, I mean the original hydro gear part is available. but at a minimum of about $150. So, and I could do that. $150 plus a filter, plus the gasket material. It's not looking like I'm going to spend any money on the seals. But anyway, I figure that I'll be somewhere around $200, give or take, before it's done. And everything, of course, will have to be cleaned up good, all of the old lubricant cleaned up, and make sure that there's no contaminants. All of the gasket material have to be, I shouldn't say accounted for, but at least scraped and cleaned. So all that will have to come off if I go this route. But as it turns out, I may have gotten lucky because the guy down the street, who I'm accustomed to checking in with every once in a while, just happened to come across this Craftsman here recently. And it'd been sitting quite some time, but it's not in too bad a shape. 18.5 horse twin Kohler Magnum. Engine runs fine. At least it will if I clean up the fuel system. I ran it through a temporary fuel system for a while and it does fine. But I'd much rather have my baby back in service and not sitting in my garage anymore. I did get it running long enough to make sure that transaxle moves in forward and reverse. So I mean, it's got a couple of good wheels. I got a couple of extra tires. Deck pulley shields, I think, will fit my other deck, so I'm happy about that. And I've got some extra rollers. The bracketing's a little different, but I actually have 2 of these, so I wish I had half a dozen of them. But this is a great machine, so if you have the opportunity to pick one of these up, the Craftsman 50 with the 25 horse Kohler V-twin, I would recommend it. This engine is a beast. I love this machine, and I say I have 2 of them, but I'd highly recommend it. So anyway, I've got a lot of work ahead of me. I'm going to pull this dude in here, put them side by side, and start the arduous process of pulling this transaxle out, and hopefully get it out of there and reverse the process right back into this machine, and we'll see how it goes. So keep your fingers crossed for me. Wish me luck. That's all for now.